Today's episode is sponsored by Tecovas Cowboy Boots and Western Apparel. For the highest quality boots and Western apparel, check out tecovas.com. We want to thank them for their continued support and always delivering the best looking boots out there.
Every snap is an interview.
After the snap.
What a snap. Hey, keep your mouth shut, 50!
I lead by example.
With Blake and Reed Ferguson, discussing life in, out, and after football.
To be able to leave walking away with a degree and a championship, it couldn't be any better.
Yeah!
Well, you can take this boy out the real south out, but you can't take the real south out of my voice. And now here we go again, twist a little bit.
Reed, welcome back. We have not talked in a little while, but I am absolutely juiced up for the pod today. We've got Grill Guy joining us. You and I, as we've talked about at length before this, huge Grill Guy fans. And for those of you who are not familiar with what we're talking about, pause the podcast right now and go watch a couple of Grill Guy videos on TikTok or Instagram. You will
some of the best impressions and skits
yes
on the internet right now. He's doing a great job. So we got him on. Our interview with him is pretty much the whole podcast. So tune in here in a minute. But as Blake, as you mentioned, we haven't done a podcast since pre-Super Bowl. So we took a couple weeks off. We both took some little, what do you call it? Hiatus.
R&R
time. Yep, little R&R after the season was officially over. We both went out to West Texas. You went and visited your better half. I went and shot my first buck out almost. I was dang near in Mexico, out in West Texas. So had a great time. Got the freezer all stocked and full. So we're
you already have the meat back and everything.
Already got the meat back.
Amazing.
Already dropped off my my buck head
to get
be mounted. I'm actually getting it on a Texas shaped wooden plaque.
Wow, that is
I'm fully bought into the whole Texas deal.
How many states are there out there? How many states are there that you can get a buck mounted on a piece of wood in the shape of the state? Like, how many places are they actively pushing? You're not like, you don't get something, you don't get one in the shape of Colorado, like, or
probably not.
Vermont.
I'm just doing it because it's where I killed it.
That is so Texas of you. That's amazing.
Texas.
I love that.
So Texas. But just any guesses as to how long the
months.
13 months. Okay. 13 months it's going to take. So I've got plenty of time to find somewhere in my office here.
I would say so.
Where I'm going to put him up. But
So I have a question.
So
Are the shakes, are they real? Like when you've got one in the sights, when you've got a buck in the sights and you're like ready to pull the trigger, I've heard, because I'm not a big hunter. You have not hunted a whole lot. Dad did growing up, but like after we started playing football, that was just kind of what consumed our time. We didn't hunt much. I have heard though that like when you've got one lined up that your hands start shaking, your heart starts beating, it's hard to breathe. Is that true?
This is gonna sound super dumb.
Okay.
Not for me. I did practice. Excuse me. I did practice a little bit at the range, some breathing stuff, just because I knew I'd get something out there. They had a bunch of tags to fill, so they got, I think, at the ranch that I went to last year, they got upwards of 20 deer
Holy
in
smokes.
1 week because they just have to fill the tags.
Yeah.
So we knew we were going to see something. It was just a matter of
Is it a high fence
when
place?
it's a fence. Yeah, it's they
Okay.
anyway.
Do they have like anything exotic, like any crazy like antelopes or stuff running around there?
No, they get cows, rabbits, hogs
Gotcha.
are aplenty out there. Got me a big old hog. Also,
Did you say cows?
they have
like-
cows just grazing the land.
Okay.
We can't kill them.
I was about to say like
but
wild,
they
like
just
wild.
the state they were telling me something about the state of Texas will give them credits or pay them to have cows graze the land. But no, it's they just
Gotcha.
they get a
Nice.
certain number of tags each year and they have to fill them. But yeah, no, it was a blast, and I got 4 deer in the couple days that I was out there. So fridge is stocked.
You shot 4 deer.
I did with
Holy
3
smokes.
bullets. 4 deer with 3 bullets.
All right.
Are you gonna ask me?
I don't know that I want to know how that happened.
Well, one of them was standing behind the other one, and I
Okay.
didn't see it at the time. So
Got
when
it.
we drove up, I was like, "Oh, that's the one I shot." And then I was like, after I
There's like 2 dead
shot
deer
it,
there.
after I shot it, I asked my buddy, I was like, didn't you shoot? I was like, I'm pretty sure I heard 2 shots go off. And like after you pull it and you see the deer like drop, you see it hit and it
Mhm.
drops, and like your adrenaline is I thought that I heard another gun go off,
Yeah.
but nobody else in the Ranger shot anything. So we were like, yeah, I was standing right behind it, and it was pretty close, but
Jeez.
I didn't put 2 and 2 together till
That's
after we
awesome.
had got there, but pretty
Well,
cool.
It's pretty lucky, I would say.
I felt like Dwight, where you're like, through the neck. Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. That's kind of, to update everybody, that's kind of what we've been doing. Just off season is in full gear. We're kind of just doing off season stuff, really working out. You and I are both kind of in workout mode right now.
Yep.
I'm gonna start snapping here in a few weeks, kind of getting back into snapping, but as of right now, we're vibing. Vibes are high. Grilling all the time. Just got me, or I didn't just get it, Erica got it for me for Christmas, but set up my new Blackstone. Did breakfast on it this morning.
Why can't we buy the same or get the same brand of anything grill related?
I don't know.
I'm Loco. You're Blackstone. You've got the Traeger. I'm about to be having my green egg, and there's going to be some smoker wars going.
Variety is good.
Yes,
variety is good.
But you have plenty of grill space to grill up your deer meat that you've gotten. Did you get a bunch of like sausage and other stuff made?
We got some breakfast sausage, some chorizo, backstrap. Gonna be smoking that soon. So some Grills Mafia content is coming in hot.
Well, that actually sounds like a perfect segue into our guest for today.
Yes.
None other than the grill guy himself, at Grill Guy on Instagram, at Grill Guy _ on TikTok. But before we get into those, I want to share a quick word about today's sponsor, Tecovas Western Apparel and Cowboy Boots. Made by hand, I wore Tecovas boots long before they were ever a sponsor of After the Snap, and we are so proud to partner with them because they are a company that we believe in. They've proven their quality craftsmanship over time, and they're always coming out with new boots, new apparel to look your best and feel even better. But with that, let's get into our interview with Grill Guy. We now welcome in our first ever influencer, if that's what you want to call him, to the podcast. We love, Reed and I both love grill guy videos. So we are honored to welcome you onto the pod. Welcome to After the Snap, Kevin, aka Grill Guy on Instagram and TikTok. Welcome to the pod.
Oh my goodness. Thank you guys. Thanks so much.
Round of applause.
It's always so weird when people say influencer, because I just picture like the 2015 influencer, which was like a hot chick in a bikini selling like makeup products.
It's only a matter of time before you end up on Influencers in the Wild. I'm sure you've seen that account before.
Doing like angel wings in Nashville or something.
It's funny because like in the beginning of our relationship, I was probably the Instagram boyfriend for my wife, and now my wife is more the Instagram wife for me. So you'll probably catch her trying to snap content. This is gonna be funny, babe. Film this.
Okay, so does she have her own sort of brand that she's doing?
No, she has a page, Grill Guy's Wife.
Okay,
but she
is that her actual page?
Well, it's not her personal. Like she has her own.
Okay, Instagram. She's got it's her Finstagram.
It's her Finsta. Yeah, she created a Finsta because, especially early on, like 90% of my content was just making fun of her. And so she used it as like a rebuttal. She would like do stories of like shit that I was like making fun of, and she'd be like, yeah, this is really what happened. But yeah, she's not really on it that often.
She has to have her opportunity to share her side of the story.
She does. She takes that opportunity as she should. Yeah, so no, she's kind of unimpressed by the whole thing.
The one that I thought was funny, and it's actually hilarious that you bring it up, was bring up your wife, is the video on your TikTok that currently has the most views that you've ever had, 14.5 million. My wife, when we have to be somewhere at 3, and it's like, I need to get up and shower, and it's like 11 a.m., 11:45. I need to get up and shower.
And it's just like repeat.
Yes. Yes.
That's so true.
It's so
Blake is not
I'm not married
yet, but he will find out eventually someday the struggles that we go through.
I don't know like what it, I think it's just like a verbalization of things, of saying stuff they don't want to do, but they know they have to. So like whatever that is, it can be avoiding. Yeah, it's just avoidant behavior. But it's so weird how TikTok works. Like I didn't find that video that great. Like I was just like, oh, whatever, I'll put this up. And like TikTok's so weird. Eventually you look at it and you're like, what? Like is this
the algorithm always wins?
And then it's like, oh my God, this thing got huge. And then didn't do the same thing on Instagram. It was like not popular on Instagram at all.
So you've been posting a little bit about it lately. You are currently on a diet adventure. Is that correct?
Yes.
I know we talked about it briefly, but you've cut out some booze. Is that pretty much the extent of the diet, or what are we talking about here? Are you keto? Are you vegan?
No, okay, if I'm being honest and fully open here, this is going to be inside information.
Honesty pod.
All
Good thing nobody else is going to hear this except myself and Reed.
Blow it up to the moon. So January I was locked in. I was counting my macros. I was no booze, and if I did have booze, it was like just tequila, right? So just like a little bit of like
skinny margarita. Are you a skinny margarita guy?
No. I actually enjoy like tequila sodas.
Okay.
Which is like the least, you can't consume less calories if
that's
you're
right. Like, not you don't even put a lime in it.
It's like eating celery.
Yeah, it's like eating celery. Yeah, but I enjoy that. And like it's easy for me because also like I'm not a coffee with sugar guy. I just do black coffee.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm cutting out huge amounts.
So you're here for the function, like coffee. Yes. I'm not drinking it for the taste. Just give it to me.
Yeah, put it in my
same thing with the tequila. It's like
I'm here for the function of it. Yeah, I don't need all the razzle dazzle. But anyway, then February came and I had to travel. I did like 2 or 3 trips, and traveling is just impossible trying to keep a diet because I also don't have willpower at all. Mm-hmm. So I was just boozing and eating and like barely working out. And so basically I lost like 8 pounds in January, and I gained back like 4.
Okay.
But Here's the inside information. Stomach bug went through my house this weekend. So
Cha-ching,
There you go.
cha-ching, dropped
Dude,
11 pounds.
Oh
What
yeah.
is- how much did you lose?
I'm back down. I'm back down to my January weight. So
There you go. Like it
I'm ready
never
to go,
happened.
dude. Yeah.
Are you an
so-
Office
Like it
fan?
never happened.
Do you watch
I'm
The
a-
Office? It's
Yeah,
like when Kelly gets the tapeworm to lose the weight. It's like just I hope I get the stomach bug so that I can drop these 11 pounds.
Dude, and like we're just getting out of it now, but it was an absolute bloodbath. You had both my wife and I having some serious issues. Then my son had just a horrible cough. So he's up all night. I'm like shivering and like fever, trying to like give my son a bot. It was just an absolute bloodbath. But we got through it. Thank God.
How old is your son?
He's going to be 2 in June. So he's like 21
Nice.
months.
Nice. My daughter is going to be
Nice.
2 in April, so we're pretty
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
close there. Yeah, we're trying to she's finally, cross my fingers. She is finally sleeping like consistently through the night. It is such a blessing.
Yeah. Did
Such
you
a
have
blessing.
rough-
She
a rough
was
go with that?
terrible sleeper her first, I don't even know, year of her life. And
Oh,
then
wow.
and I don't really know. She who knows? That's
It's so weird. And it's
story
also
for another
like,
day, but
every person will be like, oh, you got to do this or you got to do that. And it's like, I think 98% of it is just like chance. It's just like, what your kid's a good sleeper or they're not. Like you can
Yep.
do everything in the book, but you either have a good sleep or you don't, you know?
100%. You talk to two different people. Like when my wife's pregnant and she's due in May with another girl, and they're like,
Oh, nice. Congrats.
you talk to two. Thank you. You talk to two different people. You're like, oh, one person says, well, if your body starts acting like this, it's going to be a boy. If it starts acting like this, it's going to be a girl. And you start, and you're like, well, I was doing the boy thing, but it's a girl. And you're like, well, that doesn't, it's like,
None of
It's-
this.
it's all,
It's the same. It's the same people that believe in the horoscopes thing.
yes,
It's
100%.
the
I'm showing a little lower. So it must
Yeah.
be,
That's right.
right,
you don't know.
exactly.
You're an
And
Aquarius.
The sleep thing, it's all when you're a first time parent. I'm guilty of this. When you're a first time parent, I'm trying to take in as much advice as possible
Yeah.
because you don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you grew up. It helps, but I don't think it really matters if you grew up like around babies because
Yeah,
you were
no.
never fully responsible for one.
Yes.
But when you have so many people telling you things
Yeah.
that are their experiences, and then a lot of it ends up not happening, and it's just you kind of gotta. A lot of it is figuring it out by yourself.
It's like a recipe. You like take a couple,
Yes.
like you look up 10 different chili recipes,
100%.
take a couple things that you like, and you write. It's also survival. It's
Yeah.
pure,
Oh,
dead
pure
on
survival.
instinctual, whatever
Oh
it
my
takes.
God, dude, it gets wild, and you just gotta freaking find a way to get through it.
Give us
I
your
was-
best. Give us your best story. Like you've got. I know. Have you had like diaper blowouts?
It
Oh,
sounds like this
what are we
past
talking?
weekend.
Yeah, literally, I would say. So this is my wife. A couple nights ago, it was 2 nights ago, was without question the worst night of my life as a parent. Like the worst, like, parent story. Like, and I'm not trying to get graphic, but like, I'm talking like it was coming out of both ends, and it was like he won't stop crying. I just want to sleep. I'm freezing. And he just like, I did a video on it when like you have these phantom cries where they like cry and you're like, motherfucking God damn it. And it's just like, you're just like, you can't possibly still be up. You can't possibly, I've done everything. I've changed. I've given bottle. I've given another bottle. I've changed again. Like there's nothing else I can do.
Yep.
And you just feel so helpless. So that was that. But
When they're crying, you quickly learn when they're crying, it's three things. They have a dirty diaper, they're tired, or they're hungry.
and then there's one more, they're just an asshole. And so I think my son was just straight up being an asshole. He knew I was sick and was like, I got you.
Yeah, this is my time to shine.
Yeah, he's like, yo, you got the stomach flu? I got you, motherfucker.
So
Can I curse on this, by the way?
yeah, it's fine.
That's all right.
We'll have our producer bleep it out. We're family friendly, but we'll have our producer bleep it out.
I'll cut it out.
So is that where the onion video came
Yes.
from?
So this
Tell
is
us about that. Did you actually try that method?
3 nights in a row. I cut up an
Oh,
onion and put it under my
Gross.
Yeah, and like I'm not exaggerating when it smelled. I smelled like vinaigrette. It smelled like just onion, and then so that's the icing on the cake. Like I was sick, and I was going in helping my son who had a cough, smelling that onion. So I'm just like in my mind,
Oh my
cursing.
goodness.
Yeah, dude, it was just a mess. But yeah, I mean, there's blowouts. I have a category system for baby baby poops, I'll say, where you go category 1 all the way to category 5, which is where it spreads up to the neck. So I'm sure you've seen some of this, Reed, and this is early stage, newborn stage, when the poop is like soft, it can spray up the neck. I've cleaned poop off my son's ear.
It's brown. It's dark brown applesauce.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like grits. It's like poop grits. But yeah, so I've definitely there's been some category 5s before, but those are just fun. Like I remember one time I was alone. My wife was traveling. He had one go up to his neck, and this was like right after I put him down. So I had to pick him up. And a newborn, there's not really any other place you can put a newborn except for like the floor when they're sleeping in the crib, but the crib had poop everywhere. So I had to like just lay him on the floor, like naked. He peed. So now there's pee on the carpet. I'm trying to like pull off the crib sheet. I get him in the bath. I shower him off. I'm like, oh my God, it's everywhere. I get him on again. And just as I'm putting him back into the thing, I hear blast. I'm like, dude, you gotta be kidding me here.
There's no way.
Yeah, I'm like blocking pee, like hitting the face. I'm like, oh, it was a chaos. It was an action movie. I was like,
and of course, that was when you were there by yourself.
Only when you're alone.
Couldn't have happened when your wife was there.
Murphy's Law. So
that's right.
Yeah,
I want to go back to the food thing for a minute, because your name, after all, is Grill Guy. How did that name come about? Are you going to go to Grill Dad at some point? Like
maybe this guy.
Just guy. Now that you're on a diet, like where did that come from? How did that come about?
So I've told this story before on another pod, but basically I was a teacher and a basketball coach. Like that's just what I was doing with my life for the last 10 years up until 2021. 2021, we had our son, and a friend of mine hit me up and was like, hey, I work for this social media company and we're trying to create this like grilling cooking show. We want it to be organic, so we don't want it to be with like a chef. But he's like, I know you cook and you post stuff on your Instagram all the time about, cooking, and they're always super entertaining. Do you want to give this thing a shot? And I'm like, oh, I guess. I was on paternity leave. It was the summertime, so I was gonna have a bunch of time off to like really do something else. And so they gave me this Instagram, and it was called Grill Guy. It had like 35 followers, and he's like, make a cooking show. And that was literally all the direction I got. So I had no idea what I was doing, and I was really bad. Like if you go back and watch some of the really early Grill Guy videos, they're just like weird.
I've scrolled.
Yeah, it's just bad, dude. It's weird, and I had no idea what I was doing. But then in between, I would just make like a skit or two. I just would like try to figure out how to edit on TikTok or do whatever. I was just trying to make skits because they were more fun for me anyway. And long story short, eventually the skits were just way more fun to do and did so much better. And I was just better at them. So I stopped grilling, sometimes would cook, and now it's just full blown. I'm just not, now it's like a joke. People are like, you never grill. And I'm like, whatever, it's seasonal.
So so we met last year at the Traeger event.
Right.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Had no idea.
I had followed you prior to that, but what's the tie-in? So is that the tie-in with Traeger? Did you know somebody there from when you were doing the cooking videos?
Yeah. So do you know the guy Alex? He's no longer there. Alex Wang.
I don't think so.
Okay, so he was just a guy that worked at
Traeger. Just leave?
Yeah, like not too long ago.
Oh, okay. No, I'm not sure.
Anyway, he just reached out and was like, hey man, I work for Traeger. Like this is when I was grilling pretty heavily. Hey, like, and I work for Traeger, like, whatever, we'd love to send you something. And I was like, oh man, that's awesome. So they sent me like a smoker, and I cooked on it a bunch. And then all of a sudden something came in the mail that was like, you're invited to this thing. And I was like, sick. I don't think I'm gonna
The
get
holy
invited back.
grail of grill guy.
Dude, it was so
Like-
sick. It was the coolest event. Like I met these dudes from Canada
was
that I
awesome.
was with all weekend. It was so fun.
When I opened that envelope, I felt like I was king of the world.
I was like,
I was like, personal invite?
yeah.
Absolutely.
Dang,
Yeah, so
I
it
don't
was
feel like
cool.
as much of a meat fluencer anymore. Now that you
Dude,
guys
you
have
just gotta-
freaking
Yeah,
You're a bourbon influencer.
yeah, that I am. Are you a
Oh,
bourbon
that's
guy?
good.
Do you?
I love bourbon. Yeah.
You do like bourbon?
There you
Wait,
go.
pause 1 second. Hold on 1 second. This is my
I feel like Blake's about to be extremely impressed.
this is actually a rye,
Ooh, High West is really good.
but this is really good. My boy got this for me, and I was thoroughly impressed. It's very
Yeah,
delicious.
super good stuff.
I'll talk into that a little later.
Yeah, I even have Reed like searching for bourbon for me, like up in New York.
Yeah,
My
bourbon's easy
dad
to-
is like, my dad will call me on like a random Tuesday afternoon, and be like, "Hey, I stopped in this liquor store. They've got this, and this. Like, do you want?" Like,
You're like,
this is-
yeah, but
this
yeah.
is
And
embarrassing.
dad just goes into shop. For
He
Blake.
doesn't even drink
Dad
bourbon.
doesn't
He
even
just
drink himself.
he's more of like, I'm doing this for the chase, like for the
Yeah.
thrill of
Yes.
finding a good bottle.
Also,
also-
Kevin.
It's
Yeah.
also funny how like I can totally get this, and Reed probably too. Parents will do anything to like have something with their kids, you know. So like even if he doesn't like bourbon, he's probably just like, this is an excuse to call
That's
Blake
right.
up.
That's
talk about
exactly
that.
exactly.
I like
We love
There's
start-
been a few
Yeah.
things over the years that Blake and I have attached ourselves to
soccer.
that dad has
Jumped in.
jumped in, followed along with, and we obviously can appreciate it. But
Mm.
as a father now, you know, you said yourself, like it doesn't click till you have the kid and you're like,
I know.
yeah, let's go do that together. You want to
It's
go to the playground? Of course I want to go to the playground.
It's so weird because you hear this all growing up. Like you'll understand when you're a parent, and you hate hearing it because it's like, all right, dude, like you're a parent, you know everything. It's not that you know everything. It's just your eyes are opened up to a new level of kind of like of a bond, really, as corny as that sounds. And it's like
Yeah.
you get it. You get why like
You've never had that bond before, so the awareness level is times
Yeah,
10
it's,
right off the bat.
Yeah. So I just like my father, I lived with just my father and my two brothers growing up for most majority of my childhood. And I'm like, damn, my dad was like only a few years older than I am now. Single parent, 3 kids in the household, running a business, trying to go to, and he like never missed anything. Like my dad was at every basketball game, every football game. And like looking back, I'm like, damn, dude, I don't know how he did that. Like he was only like 42, 43. I'm 35. Like
Let's talk about that for a second. Because you're from Jersey, correct?
originally from Chicago, spent most of my life was in the suburbs of Chicago.
Okay.
Part of my childhood was in Jersey. Like my mom lived in Jersey, so I kind of bounced back and forth a little bit.
Okay.
And then since I was 18, I've been on the East Coast. I've been in Philly, New York, and Jersey.
Got it. So that's where the Bears hat and gear comes from that I've seen in your videos. Let's chat the Bears for a second and kind of being a lifelong Bears fan.
Okay. Let's dive in. Do you have questions, or do you want to just give you my
Just share your experience.
So growing up, the Bears have always really been bad, I think. And even when we went to the Super Bowl in 2006, all people really remember from that season was I forget his name, from the Cardinals. We know who they are. Who we thought.
They are who we thought they were.
Yeah, because everyone thought we were the worst, like 10-6 team, or the worst whatever team like ever, and we were. I think we lost 3 games that year, but we were like we couldn't score on offense. We just had the most amazing defense and like Devin Hester. So it was
That's all I remember from that Super Bowl was the
Yeah,
opening kickoff. It's pouring rain and Devin Hester just crib
takes
talk
it to
on
the
the
house,
first
dude.
play of the game.
So it's been tough, but like there's been some cool moments. Like I don't know, going to Bears games is always huge. And like in high school, I played football in high school, so I always remembered like we would play Friday nights. Sundays we'd have the day off, so that was like our drinking day, like in high school. So we'd go like drink at our friend's house during the day. It's like probably the worst thing ever, but whatever, we used to do it. And then weirdly enough, I don't know if I should say this, but whatever, I will. My first cousin is Kristen Cavallari, and she married Jay
No
Cutler.
kidding.
So I was like, he had come to a couple of Christmas parties too. I like went to their weddings. So it was like cool. I thought it was like so cool. I was like, dude, I know Jay Cutler. He wouldn't know, he'd have no idea who I was now, but
That's funny.
yeah, it was kind of cool, like seeing that and feeling like you kind of had a connection or whatever. So
So do you still go to games? Like, are you still involved at all as a Bears fan?
yeah, I went to the last game I went was fall of 2019. I went obviously I live in Jersey, so like if I go back to Chicago, me and my boys will go. But we haven't done that since 2019. 2020 obviously was a wash, and then the last 2 years with the kid, it's been difficult. So I only got back to Chicago like one time since COVID, and that was like very briefly over this past Christmas. So yeah,
How close are you to MetLife?
I'm really close. I'm like 20 minutes down the road. I really
okay.
wanted to bring they sent me one of the handheld Traegers, I forget the Rangers.
Rangers, yeah.
And I wanted to take that bad boy up to MetLife, but we never did it this year. So hopefully next year. Maybe I'll tailgate an XFL game.
We both play there twice each year, once each year. So next season when we're out, we'll have to meet up for some dinner the night before the game, because we usually have some free time once we get in on Saturday.
Hell yeah, dude! I'm down for that. We'll definitely do that. Wait,
I think
so you guys play each other twice a year too?
Yeah,
That's right.
Yep.
So do your parents go to that game? Go to both those games?
That's the one game. That's the two games they don't miss.
Yeah, no matter what.
Usually
they go to a lot of games, almost every game, schedule pending with primetime games and weekday, Sunday, Monday, or Sunday, Thursday, or something like that. They can make both games, but if the only time they miss is if there's two Sunday.
Dude, that's so cool.
Yeah, mom sports
they do a great job.
Mom sports the half and half jersey. That's right. You might have seen Travis Kelce's mom doing the same thing. She lived it up at the Super Bowl as she should have. Like that's incredible to have two sons playing against each other. Like you can't lose.
Peak moment.
That's freaking awesome.
And I loved their pod afterwards when they're talking about it, like getting emotional. So cool.
Oh yeah, tears.
Yeah, dude, of like joy too, right? Like
yes.
That's cool. So I gotta ask the question. I'm sure you've been asked this all the time. How did you guys get into both long snapping? Like, where did this come from? How are there two world-class long snappers in the same family tree?
I'll deflect to Reed.
Sure. Okay. I have actually talked to our team statistician, like our big analytics numbers guy, to figure out. I'm like, this is your off-season homework. Yeah. I was like, I know you'll probably be busy on a ton of analytics stuff, but I was like, save this project. I'll talk to you when we get back in April for OTAs. Find out the percentage chance of two brothers going to being long snappers, going to the same college, both playing in the NFL, not just any team, but two teams in the same division.
Yeah.
So I hope he'll follow through on
at least 1 in 10.
What
at least 1 in 10.
What chance that is? But I started when I was in 8th grade. I had played football for a few years prior to that, but wasn't getting a ton of playing time at the positions I was put at. Yeah. And then the kid got hurt that was snapping before our 8th grade season, and my dad was like, "Hey, let's give it a shot. See what you can do. Let's at least practice it for a couple weeks." And ended up doing it for the 8th grade team that year. Kept doing it for the freshman team the next season once I got to high school, and then snapped for varsity for 3 years. So pretty crazy. And then Blake started when he was in 7th grade, a year before me. So
then LSU calls you and is like, "Hey, I mean, you guys are the best of the best.
We want
So
both
the
of you.
guy that we there's a guy that his name's Chris Rubio. He runs snapping camps. He has a partner that does like kicking and punting. So they have like specialist camps they run around the country. So we would go to his camps a couple times a year. A few college teams actually hired him to run their specialist camp. LSU being one of them. I think Alabama, Tennessee, Oregon, Texas maybe was one, maybe a handful of
A&M
others.
did it for a few years.
Texas A&M. So each year, and both of our parents actually went to Tennessee. So my dad grew up in Knoxville. So we would obviously go to we grew up in Atlanta. So we'd go to all the Southeast ones that we could.
Yeah.
And LSU just, was the best fit for me. And then 3 years later, my brother came and redshirted my senior year and then took over for me when I left. So it's a crazy story. I mean, you look back on it, there's not many teams that have two scholarship long snappers on at the same time. But Coach Miles thought that was a good idea. So
Dude, that's awesome.
glad he
That's
did.
so cool.
But pretty wild story. And then Blake got drafted at the year after they
COVID.
the spring at the COVID year, the spring after they won the
Wow,
national
so you were
championship.
there. You were there in 2020.
I was there. I was
He
my
won
last
the
year at
championship
LSU was,
in 19.
2019. That was the national championship season.
Oh,
And then my
damn.
very next real game was in front of nobody in Foxborough. So I went from the national championship in New Orleans to an empty Gillette Stadium in Foxborough against Cam Newton and the Patriots in 2020, which, like, I was telling this to somebody the other day, like the Cam Newton era in New England is like I think they're doing everything that they can to like wipe that from like the team history. Like that's total
about it.
Right. Thank you.
Why
like,
would you?
He
Yeah,
was like could not be more opposite of what you've always read about Bill Belichick and like the way that they operate in New England. Like Cam Newton is not that.
No.
And so since he's left there, like you've never heard anything about the Cam Newton era when he was in New England. But when we were up there, he was like there was nobody in the stands. The only people there are the players, the coaches, like the support staff, and then like the security people in the stands. It's like half the number of security people that would normally be there because there's obviously nobody in the stadium. And you could hear Cam Newton like talking trash from the other sideline. Like it was a scrimmage. Like it was a spring game.
That's basically what it felt like. We didn't have fans.
Yeah.
Y'all had fans, luckily, at your home games that season.
Yes.
We didn't have any fans, so it was a glorified scrimmage, is what that season felt like.
Dude,
I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone that year.
Yeah, especially in Buffalo where fans are nuts.
Yes.
Right? They're probably just like loud and insane. Like
people would tailgate just in the park,
Just
like
go,
just
in
to
their front
tailgate.
yards, because our stadium is like in the middle of a bunch of neighborhoods.
Is
like
it really?
in the middle of the suburbs?
Oh,
So
wow.
it's very college-like atmosphere where people are just on the front lawns on these side streets, just tailgating, parking their cars on the.
Yeah, you pay $20 to park in somebody's side yard.
Exactly.
No way.
Yes.
So people are just tailgating and waving to us as we drive in for the game, knowing
What's up,
they
guys?
can't go. They can't
Yeah,
go. They just have their TVs, and it's out there. It's 10 degrees outside.
Nuts.
Watching on their TVs tailgating like they can't, like they're there, but they can't go. It was a wild season.
So like, if I'm being honest, like, and please don't take this any other type of way, which I'm just curious. I wouldn't be able to name the long snapper like on most teams I've been a fan of.
Can you name the Bears long snapper?
I cannot. No.
Oh,
can't.
come
Can you?
on.
Run to the
Yes.
pod, Patrick Scales.
Okay. Oh no. Yeah. Actually, I know Scales.
Pat
He follows
Scales.
me.
Patty
I know
Scales.
I'm gonna do it. Pat
He's-
Scales. Yeah. Pat Scales.
He's been there for eight years, Blake.
Yeah,
Is
he's
that
been there a
right?
while.
7 or 8
Yeah.
years.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I
at
did know that.
least.
I did know that.
Um,
But my question was, Blake, if you go out, or either of you guys, if you go out in your cities, do people recognize you? Like, do they know you?
I have a funny story about this. I'm actually glad that you asked this because I don't know that we've ever talked about it on the podcast, but yes,
That's sick.
from time to time. The
sick.
Same answer.
strangest
Yeah.
place I've ever been recognized was in Buffalo
Yeah.
at a sports bar
Oh, this is funny.
at a urinal.
Okay.
There was the guy next to me looked over and was like, he like looked at me and it was kind of one of those like he knew,
like,
you know that he knows, but you don't want to say anything. You just like look
When-
back.
What's going
When
on?
do you
here?
ever
And so
look at somebody at the urinal?
Then
Yeah, I know.
then you were I flush and turn around and I'm over there washing my hands and he comes up and he says, "Hey, are you Blake Ferguson?" And I was like, "Yes, I am." And then he proceeds to say, "Oh, I'm a big LSU fan. I'm here for the weekend with some friends, whatever." So he knew me because I was still at LSU at the time. I was
Oh, you
not
were?
in the league yet. I was still at LSU. Obviously, Reed was playing in
visiting.
Buffalo.
Yeah.
So I was there either on my bye week or, an off weekend or whatever. But that was definitely the weirdest place. But the funniest one is in Miami. I was in the Chick-fil-A drive-thru.
This is the one I thought you were going to say first.
Yes. So when you pull up to the drive-thru, like I'm the type of guy that I already have my order done on the app.
Yeah.
My order's done on the app before I ever even drive up. So like I'm going through the drive-through line and all I have to say to the person standing there with the iPad is, I've got an order for Blake F, whatever.
Yeah.
She does a little thing, checks me out. She's like, "Do you need anything else? Like, do you want me to add any sauce or whatever?" And
Like, yeah, a couple sauces.
yeah, and some extra napkins, something, drink holder. And and then I'm getting ready to, pull forward and she goes, "By the way, are you the guy from TikTok?"
No.
I was
He
like,
knew you from social.
Blake used to be
Not-
big into TikTok, like
I haven't-
informational NFL stuff.
I haven't made as many of them recently, but I was doing the TikTok thing strong for 2020
Not as a football player,
and 2021
as a TikTok guy.
Yeah,
Dude.
yeah, and I got recognized in Miami. Like we were 5 minutes from our facility, like
That's what I'm talking
5
about.
minutes.
She has no
And
idea
she's
that
like-
you're like an NFL
she's like,
player.
"Nah,
She
you're not-
doesn't give a
No,
fuck
I
that.
don't care that you play for the Dolphins. You're the guy that's popping up on my TikTok."
One of my boys, one of my good friends, you guys might know him. His name's Clay Harbor. He was a tight end.
I know.
Yeah.
I know of
The
him.
name sounds familiar.
I just knew him through a friend that he played. Whatever. I've known him for a long time, and I knew him like when he was in the Eagles in like 2010. We've been friends for like 12 years. I would go out with him, and he started and like was a pretty, I played 9 years in the NFL, right? But he wasn't like a household name or anything. But we would go out and like no one would ever recognize him really, like once in a long while. Then he got on The Bachelor or The Bachelorette.
Oh yeah,
And he
everywhere.
blew up. And
Yeah.
now the guy cannot go anywhere. Like, especially when The Bachelor was like, when it was like his season, like recent,
Yeah,
dude, people would stop him everywhere. And it was never like, "Hey, you're the guy from the Eagles." It's like, "Oh my God, you're from The Bachelor."
that's right.
Like, imagine being like a world-class athlete, like literally one of like the upper 0.5% at something you do, and people just know you for being on reality
Oh
TV.
my gosh,
Like, that would piss me off so much.
you work so hard to get to training your body and like molding your body into this just
It's like this
elite athlete,
elite athlete, like,
and then you just like randomly get picked to be on The Bachelor, and then that's how I felt about being the TikTok
Well,
guy,
dude,
because I literally
I'm
just started making, the random videos on TikTok talking about, this is what a day in the life of a NFL football player looks like, and it just blew up. And
do more of that. Like, you can edit this out. This is just me talking, whatever, but do more of that. Everybody I talk to right now, I'm like, dude, if you are an athlete, you're automatically going to have a
for
following.
sure.
Content.
sure.
It's only going to help you. It's only to help stuff like this. We'll talk more about this afterwards, but dude, keep that stuff up for
Yeah.
sure.
All right. So I want to get back to talking about Grill Guy and your online platform, your presence. when you get going and you come up with an idea, something comes to you while you're watching TV and something your wife says is hilarious, and you are like, okay, that's perfect. Like, do you get up and make a video like right then and there, or is that something you kind of storyboard and have a process for? How does that work?
It's actually the opposite usually. Well, it's not always the same. Like it's different. Like there's different ways that videos come about really. But most of the time, if I'm being honest, it's like at 9 in the morning, I'm like, okay, what am I going to post today? And I go into like I have like, everyone says I have ADD. That's like the new TikTok trend is everybody has ADHD. But I think I've been saying that for 20 years. Okay. I got the ADD. Anyway, I'm just kidding.
You're the vet.
Yeah. I know what this, anyway.
I'm actually prescribed Vyvanse.
So I need to I got to get into an enclosed space. So I go into the shower where there's like literally nothing can distract me. And like my phone's away and I'll just like workshop videos. Now at that time, I'll kind of in my mind go back to things that happened like the day before or the couple days before, or once in a while I'll see something and I'll be like, oh, that's a good idea for a video. And I'll have it as notes in my
notes
phone.
app. Yeah.
Yeah. But I never really know how it's going to come out or like how it's really going to like be, or what's the best way to do it. Sometimes like funny ideas just don't lend themselves well to like a video. Sometimes that'd be better for like a stand-up bit, or like that'd be, which I've never done and probably will never do, but whatever.
That was what I was going to ask or have you ever thought about doing stand-up? Have you ever thought about doing like on-screen acting? What is sort of the next step? Do you want to do the stand-up thing?
Yeah, I think I definitely want to try it. I mean, I think like stand-up, like, stand-up's weird because I think it's a lot like teaching, where like no one does stand-up and is just immediately good. You kind of got to like do it a while and suck for a while for you to be good at it. And I don't know that I really want to do that at like 35 years old. Like if I'm being honest. That being said though, like people with followings are like a cheat code because you can sell out.
Yeah.
Like
you'll automatically have people
make money.
up.
Yeah. Which like pisses comedians off, which I understand because they're like, dude, I've been on the circuit for 10 years, Yeah. So I don't know. I like someday maybe. I definitely do want to do some acting. I just did like a short film with these guys in Staten Island.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I had a blast doing that. So
pretty funny.
Yeah, thank you.
Very funny, actually, not pretty funny, very funny.
Thanks. But yeah, I kind of want to do that. And there's some other things I'm doing. So I'm just trying my best to like, I've definitely learned a ton about like social media and just being creative. Like I said, I was a high school basketball teacher and a high school basketball coach and a teacher. And like, that's just, I wasn't really creative, up until like a year ago. So
do you ever have students like reach out to you and be like, hey, you just popped up on my TikTok or popped up on my Instagram reels?
Yeah, my former player and one of my former students is like my cameraman for my men's league.
Love that.
They're all these like, so like, I stay in touch with a lot of, especially when I taught in Brooklyn, I've like, we had a really awesome, I mean, we went from like our first year, we were 0-14. We were the worst team in the city. We lost the game by 102 points at home. It was 121-19. We lost at home. And 3 years later with the same exact team, they got older or whatever. We were 21-3 and we were like fourth in the city. We were like a beast. Okay. We had that that special connection. I'm still tight with a lot of those kids. They're all like 24 now. The point guard of that team just finished up his college career like the other day, and like all the old kids. I couldn't make it. I was with my son, but yeah, we're still tight. I still hoop with them and shit.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
that's hilarious.
What question I've always wondered about a lot of the people like yourself that go from a job now doing social media full time. Can you speak a little bit on the vulnerability aspect of having to come up with something every day, posting it, and sometimes not knowing if people are going to like it or if it's going to do well?
Yeah, I mean that is like that is social media to a T, right? Is like being vulnerable.
Yeah, especially like you do. Your face is on every video. Sometimes it's easier for people that post cooking videos or stuff, you know, where the picture is only on the food or a chopping knife or something like that. As for yourself, your face is always present, which adds a different level to it.
Yeah, and it's like stuff that I made up, right? And the assumption is that I put it up because I think it's funny.
Right.
So that puts that like lets another guard down, because now people can attack kind of what, like, you know, you can get shot down on the on the internet. That's like what happens, you know. So one for every bad thing there is about the internet, there's 100 good things. So like on any one of my videos, I will read 50 comments that are like positive, or like could be construed as positive, like a laughing face, or like, oh, this is good, or someone just tagging somebody. Or the thousands of likes. Like someone clicks a like, that means they liked it.
Right.
I'll see like 3 comments that are negative, and if I let them, if I let it, it'll stay with me. So I think it's like it's a good exercise in being vulnerable. It teaches you how to be vulnerable, because you can like you have to learn how to just like kind of not put value on either of those. Like, sure, you want to put value when you're doing something good and people like it, but you also don't want to put too much value in that, because then you're going to value the hate just as much. So
is there anything you avoid in your videos? Like, do you, I know like there's like comedians who they'll say whatever, like they will, you know, anybody and everybody can get it. Is there stuff that you try to,
I try not to do like anything that can be construed political, just because, especially when I started, it was like closer to 2020, when it was just like such a wildly politically charged thing. And not because I'm not passionate about certain politics, because I am, but or like, I shouldn't say passion. I'm not passionate about politics. I'm not. There are certain topics that I may be passionate about that people can consider political.
Sure.
And so my thought process was, if I'm going to do something on the internet, and like, again, the background of this is that I'm a teacher, I'm a special education teacher, and I'm a basketball coach. Like, I've gotten to my career to like help people and to be like a positive force. And so I just wanted, if I'm going to change my career and be on the internet, I want to at least feel good about it. So like, I wanted my page to be a place where like anybody can come get a laugh. Like, there's not going to be people arguing. My goal is not to charge people up. My goal is not to like be funny because I'm shocking, or like, you know, I want anybody to be able to open up their phone, get like a 15-second giggle at best. If I can get a smile, cool. And then just be done with it, and like be a place where people can feel good. So I try not to put anything up that like people are going to argue about, although that inevitably happens on the weirdest videos. There'll be paragraph long arguments about God knows what. But yeah, I try to stay.
I'm curious now, does one come to, because you're so conscious about posting stuff that is not controversial, what like, is there 1 or 2 videos that come to mind that you can think of that people made something out of nothing?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the one that was like so dumb. I did one, this is a long time ago, about gas prices. When they started going up, I was like, everybody in small town was like, hey, how about those gas prices, huh? And it was just a joke about people always talking about gas prices. There was nothing politically charged, you know, whatever. And people just went off in the comments about it. Like,
I just made a joke. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, okay, dude, shut up.
I just made a joke to my dad today. It's a total dad thing, right? Talking about the gas prices. I just made a joke to my dad because he said, and I'll make this brief. He is trading in his mom's car. She's in a nursing home.
Yeah.
At the CarMax, he somehow got in a conversation. He texted our family group and he was like, "Hey, guy at CarMax, what a crazy story. He's from Buffalo and has season tickets." And so we started talking, and I finally texted back. I'm like, how on earth did that come up in conversation?
You had to either be wearing a Bills sweatshirt, Or you
hat or
brought it up
something. Like, how
intentionally.
does that
Oh,
come?
your
Like,
dad brought it up for sure.
hey, did you know my son? Which is hilarious because we joke about it with him all the
We
time.
give him such a hard time. That was like the running joke, especially
But
while
it goes back
Reed
to
was
what you
in
were
college.
Yeah.
being a proud parent. Like, you want to, like,
All you want to do is talk about.
all
your
you want
kid.
to say is how proud you are, and like, hey, my son plays for the Bills. My son plays for the Dolphins. So I said, how in the world does that come up in conversation? Like, that just doesn't like
Yeah.
come up.
No,
right?
you're not just like,
from-
I'm a Bill. By the way, I'm a
from
Bills fan.
10 states away. So he goes, he said, I made a comment about the nice weather today. I just texted back. I'm like, that is such a dad comment. Like, man, 75 and sunny sure is nice out today. I'm
Oh,
like,
God,
that's
I
it
do it
makes
all
so
the
much
time.
sense. And the guy responded and was like, yeah, I'm from Buffalo. I love this weather. And so
Oh,
that
yeah,
was
yeah, there
the
you go. That was
he's
the,
so I was, God, man, I'm like,
or he was like,
the
yeah,
gas
it's
prices.
Miami.
Yeah, the gas prices,
exactly.
it's like, oh man, can't wait till gas gets under 320 or something.
Wow, you guys
Man,
must
sure is nice out today.
you guys must sell a lot of cars here. Yes, it is
Oh, my
a car
goodness
lot,
gracious.
sir.
Yeah, just
No,
classic.
it's funny. I find myself doing that all the time to people.
Do you how many like, what's your ratio of posted videos to unposted videos?
Ooh, how many get
Do you
left in the
have like
drafts?
a lot of unreleased drafts?
No, what'll happen?
Because I know you went back and you're like, some topics make better like
Yeah.
a stand-up bit, or it might make a good tweet or something versus a reel.
Usually I'll like figure that out in my shower session. I'll figure out whether this is like going to be a good video or not. There's been a few times, probably like 5 times, where maybe more, I don't know, where I've like started filming it and I'm like, I just can't get this right. Or and then if I stay on something too long, it just loses its luster and it's no longer funny. So I just have to like put it away. But there's been a couple videos where I have the idea in my head, but I can't figure out how to really do it. But I don't really have them in like drafts. I've got a couple in drafts, like, I did one of my English teacher in high school, and I'm like, this is funny, but no one knows my English teacher. So is it going to be funny, or like just weird stuff that I can't really quite get right. So there's a few for sure. There's like some that I'm like, this is never going to work. Or if I get this right, it'll be really funny. But I don't know. I haven't gotten them yet.
Okay, so we're getting towards the end. I got 2 questions for you.
All right, hit me.
Before Blake wraps it up. Being that you are a Bears fan,
Mhm.
and I may not have seen the video, have you done or can you do a Mike Ditka impression?
No, it's funny is I went to school with his granddaughter. So I've seen Mike Ditka. Like, I never met him or anything, but he is an enormous man. People don't realize, people think because, he's like an older gentleman now. He's like 6'7", or like maybe like 6'6".
Holy
He's
smokes.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah,
I
he's
didn't
a
know that.
big dude, and it's weird seeing him in real life. You're like, holy shit, it's an intimidating man. No, but we always do the super fans. Like, all right, it's a heart attack.
Da Bears.
Bears. Yeah.
We need to do like
Hurricane,
we need to do like a 6 degrees of grill guy.
Seriously.
Oh yeah, we're connected out here.
He has
Holy
quite
cow.
the network in
And-
Chicago.
Jay Cutler.
Speaking of LSU, a pseudo uncle of mine is on staff there, Terry Malone. He does he used to be a tight ends coach for the Saints, and he was he's on LSU now. But anyway,
Gotcha. Is he one of those guys that's like a family friend uncle type thing? Or is he actually your uncle?
Cousin's father-in-law. So whatever that is.
Got it. I don't know that there's a name.
And that's
for
not
that.
even my real cousin either, though. It's kind of like
I'd call him my pseudo uncle too.
Your cousin's father-in-law? I think that's what you call him. There's no name for it. I think you just call him your cousin's father-in-law.
But you know what's funny is me and him, like, he's one of those guys, dude. This is the best Terry Malone story. We were at my cousin's wedding, my pseudo cousin's wedding. And he's been a coach for 30 plus years. Like, he was in the NFL, all these D1 programs. So he's like ball energy. And he gave this wedding. He's the father of the bride. So he gave like a speech at the wedding. And I'd never seen so many like 25-year-old kids ready to just dump beers on their heads and like run through a brick wall, dude. He had the whole place, and he's like, and that's my daughter. And people were like, yeah, like going nuts. And it was like just at the point where people were drunk enough where it was like, dude, if you don't get the mic out of this guy's hand, somebody's gonna break a bottle over their head.
That's amazing.
Holy cow.
You got to hire football coaches to give wedding
I
speeches.
know. Seriously, your cousin's father-in-law.
I want to ask him like how long it took him to write the speech. Like, was it did he just do it off the rip or?
No, he had some notes, but
okay.
But dude, it was in New Orleans, and like I don't know if you've been to New Orleans wedding where they have a band come, like, and
do the second line with the umbrellas and the handkerchiefs and stuff. Yeah,
I was like, I can never come to New Orleans again. There's a couple places I can never go again. Miami is one of them, and New Orleans is probably another place.
All right, we'll meet you at MetLife instead.
Yeah, we'll meet you at MetLife for sure.
Last question. We ask all our guests this. So just a brief background. In 2021, we played in Kansas City Sunday Night Football. We were going in for halftime. There was some rain coming. Ended up being a little bit of a delay at halftime. Michelle Tafoya, who was doing NBC sideline at the time, she was in our like the hallway, the tunnel, and we were just hanging out. We were kind of eating some snacks, trying to just stay, get some energy and stuff. And I made a comment that the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches were too thick. There was too much PB on the PB&J. That eventually made it on the broadcast. Not that I said it, but sources say
Bills
that,
players,
Bills were
don't
talking
like
about the PB&J.
Arrowhead.
So you were a source. You were a sources.
That's
close.
right.
Yes,
she literally just overheard the long snapper talking about the peanut butter being too thick.
I was not alone in that opinion. There were a couple other guys that shared that opinion. So, anyway, we always ask our guests what their ideal PB&J ratio is when you are making the sandwich for yourself.
Yeah.
What is your go-to and what flavored jelly?
Super important distinction, because I think no matter what, if somebody else makes you the PB&J, it's infinitely better. I don't know why that is, but when someone else,
sandwiches are always better when somebody else makes them.
Dude,
it's true. It's proven fact.
It's proven fact. And I'll just have a quick anecdote about that. I went to a friend of mine bought a like a condo he was rehabbing, and he's like, "Can you help me with some work?" I'm like, "Okay." So we were tearing up flooring and stuff, and he just made me like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Like he'd had it in the fridge and like sent me home with it. I had like an hour drive, and he's like, "Listen, here's a coffee and a PB&J." And I was like, kind of a weird thing for a bro to do for another bro, but I was like super like,
he was looking out for you.
I was touched.
That is very thoughtful.
I ate this PB&J and it was peanut butter and orange marmalade, which I was thrown off by.
Hold on.
I know.
What did you just call it?
He said marmalade.
Marmalade?
I think it's marmalade.
I think it's Lade.
It's marmalade.
Anyway, that's disgusting.
Sorry, I'm laughing at the orange and the Lade.
I don't know if it's marmalade or marmalade, but it's not what you want with peanut butter. Let's put it that way. And it was on
whatever it was.
Yeah. So, but
and
anyway,
coffee.
Yeah, coffee. But I got to tell you, in that moment, it's kind of like when you go camping and you have like you'd have fruit roll-ups and tortillas and cream cheese, weird stuff. When you have it camping, it's great. When you try it again afterwards, it's horrible. So anyway, I won't be touching marmalade or marmalade anytime soon.
I don't know. I just thought it was funny because I've only heard it marmalade. I don't know. It might be
maybe a Chicago thing to call it marmalade.
Maybe it's like a pecan thing. Like I don't know.
Maybe so. I don't know.
We'll have to check that. I'll put it up on stories and get
That's right.
Get
a poll going.
I would say my perfect PB&J is untoasted on white bread, and I would say equal parts, which makes because equal parts gives a stronger jelly feel. Mm-hmm. So, but I still want the peanut butter mouth feel, as you will. And I'm going grape. That
was a good bourbon term that you had there. Good, nice, very good. Yeah, mouth feel. Yep.
Mouthfeel. Are you crunchy or creamy PB or
I think
indifferent?
Classic, yeah. For the classic PBJ, you got to go smooth.
Okay.
But I do like crunchy PB. What about you guys? What's your?
I am jelly dominant, probably 60-40
Oh wow!
is the max I'll go.
Calling yourself a jelly dom on the internet could be construed in other ways. Like I'm just kidding. Okay, jelly dominant 60-40, and then
I'm
strawberry.
60 oh,
Yeah,
I was gonna say
strawberry.
I'm 60-40 the other way. I'm more peanut butter, only because I put peanut butter on both pieces of bread. Thin layer of peanut butter on both pieces of bread to seal in the jelly. That way, if you don't eat it immediately, you don't have jelly seepage through one piece of bread.
Seepage.
I mean, that's
Seepage.
smart. Yeah, that's very smart.
Well, the reason I do that was because I can't remember when it was. It was high school or college or something. I would pick up a PB&J from like the little snack thing at the football facility, and I'd pick it up, and it had been made, probably several hours ago or days, whatever. And there's like the bread on one side is just wet. Like it's just like you have to pull the top piece of bread off and just fold it in half like a taco and just eat the
How do you spread the
PB&J
jelly?
taco.
How do you spread the jelly on the peanut butter? Just mixes, kind of, or like what's that?
Yeah, kind of. Funny enough, we actually used to eat like mixed up PB&J sandwiches before. Like we'd mix it up in a bowl and then put it on the bread, or just eat it out of the bowl.
That more people should
That's
be
for
doing
the that's for the low carb.
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yes.
More people should be mixing the PB&J than spreading it on. I think that's it. Like you make a tuna salad sandwich in a bowl first.
That's right.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've learned some things today, fellas.
Yeah,
I got
So have I. Thanks for coming on, brother. We appreciate it.
Yes, this has been an absolute pleasure for us. Thank you again for joining us, and
Yes.
we hope you'll come back. We hope to
Fun.
to continue our pod friendship. If you
Dude,
want to
done.
follow, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and then I'd love to have you guys on my pod when we get my pod back up going.
Absolutely.
We're in production stage right now, so there's been a little pause on that, but we're gonna get it going in the springtime. So I'd love to have you guys on.
Sweet.
Be
Where
on the
can
lookout for the schedule.
Yeah.
When we come to MetLife next season. We'll have
where
to,
can the people follow you?
At Grill Guy, GRILLGUI, and at Grill Guy _ on TikTok.
There we go.
And same on YouTube. You can find me all Grill
Did
Guy.
somebody steal your name on TikTok?
Dude, I don't know. Again, both of those pages kind of got handed to me, so I've just. Been running-
Okay, gotcha. I didn't know if the underscore was because somebody
Yeah, I don't know.
snagged Grill Guy before you
It
could
might
get
have.
on there.
So don't follow that guy. Make sure it's
Don't
me.
follow Grill. Yeah.
Make sure it has an underscore if you're on TikTok.
Yeah,
If you don't see him on the For You page first.
there you go.
All right, man. We appreciate it. Thank you again for joining us, and hope to see you soon.
Thanks so much, guys.
See you, buddy. Man, I'll tell you what, in terms of like just funny conversation,
I could talk
It
to
doesn't
Grill
get-
Guy all day.
it does not get much better than that.
Yeah.
Does not get much better. Kevin, aka Grill Guy, or I guess Grill Guy, aka Kevin. Most everybody knows him as Grill Guy. That was a huge pleasure having him
Yeah.
on the podcast. He was hilarious.
Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed, and hopefully Grill Guy will come back and join us. We want to thank you all for listening to the pod this week. We also want to thank our sponsor, Tecovas Western Apparel and Cowboy Boots, for sponsoring today's podcast. Again, Reed and I, both huge Tecovas fans.
Huge fans.
You can find them online at tecovas.com, on social media at Tecovas. They're always coming out with new boots and new types of leather, snake skin, lizard skin. Lizard skin ones were my favorite that I picked up last year.
Lizards.
I wear them all the time. So you can follow them at Tecovas or find them online at tecovas.com. Thank you again for joining us this week on After the Snap. We will see you right back here next time. This has been After the Snap, tales from two brothers who live life